Welcome to the City Center podcast from West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm Jerry Marcello. If you're a fan of fantasy, comic art, or role-playing games, stand by. Mandel Public Library has something special for you. It's coming up next on the City Center podcast. And joining us today is Erik Marquez, in charge of the Technology and Innovation Center at the Mandel Public Library. Erik, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, before we get into talking about the Fanfest, I find it fascinating. We've just been talking a few minutes off camera about your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I went to art school, Kansas City Art Institute, private art school, and I graduated in '02, and then I moved from the Midwest there. I'm actually from El Paso, Texas, went to school Midwest, and then I came here. My wife is from Florida, Miami. So we moved back here, and we have been freelancing since then as artists. That's where we met in art school, and we have our kids, our 3 kids, and we've been homeschooling them. We moved to West Palm Beach, and then a couple years later we started homeschooling, and we happened to come across, because we moved close to here, we found the Mandel Library, and from all the cities we've lived in, all the travels and stuff, that the Mandel Library was amazing.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, there's so many amazing libraries around the country, obviously, but the Mandel Library is just, it was amazing. So the 3rd floor is the kids' floor. As a freelancer, we would take our kids to the 3rd floor, and they're reading and they're playing and they're doing their projects, and then I'm working on my stuff with my sketchbooks and all of that, you know.
You mentioned you're an artist. Tell me, what sort of art do you do?
Okay, so I studied, I graduated, ended up focusing on illustration, which is children's books, comic books, animation. And so I did my internship with DC Comics.
Wow.
And so I got to work on, I mean, it was amazing. This was around the time, this was right before September 11th, actually, was my internship. And so I got to work on a lot of comic books at the time. That was when the Halle Berry Catwoman movie was coming out. I got to work on some of that stuff. There was a lot of stuff where Stan Lee was doing stuff with DC Comics. The big name at Marvel. He was one of the creators. He was doing stuff with DC Comics. I got to work with some of that project.
Wow.
Stuff like that. It was great. The Bat titles and the Cartoon Network, and it was a lot of that. So my focus was a lot of that. And then after that, I went more the independent route. So I did a lot of other independent books. I worked on William Shatner's he wrote some of the sci-fi novels, and this was after Star Trek stuff, I think. And so I was part of the team where we kind of translated that into comic books, comic book format. It was great. William Shatner stuff, Vincent Price's Estate, the Conan O'Brien biography comic, the Taylor Swift one. It was a lot of different things. So
you're perfectly positioned to really be at home in at a fan fest, comic art type of event, which really brings us to, okay, so what exactly is the Mandel Fanfest?
So the Mandel Fanfest is going to be May 24th, 12 to 4, a one-day, just a very concentrated event.
Yeah.
It's basically a mini Comic-Con.
What's a Comic-Con?
A comic book convention, and we use the word Comic-Con, but now it's expanded to all fandom, right? Even though it's still Comic-Con, but we have people who are going to be, script writers and people who are collecting toys and selling. So it's that whole general thing. Sure. But basically, that's what that is. It's a day for fans of all kinds of genres to celebrate at that event with the vendors and the events and the panelists and stuff like that.
That's really neat. Well, it's interesting to see how the conventions have morphed and changed over the years. I have the privilege of saying that I went to one of the very first Comic Cons in New York City back in 1975.
Wow.
Okay, and it was exactly the kind of thing where you went there and everyone was just into the comic art and the books and the idea of people walking around in costume and the vibe that you get at modern Comic Cons or conventions, that wasn't there. We were just into the magazine. Right. You have a first issue of that. I got to have that.
Yeah.
So we were sort of dealing in that. So it's really expanded, and it's really for like everybody.
Yeah, I love that. I have seen pictures of like some of the first Comic Cons and stuff. You're right. Like at the New York one, I remember seeing some photos of that, and I mean, you're right. Just the visuals you get from that, how much it's grown is amazing. It's a whole community.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great feling now.
So this is going to be for everyone who's involved in the fantasy, science fiction genres.
Yes.
I don't want to jump forward. Science fiction, is it a part of what we're doing?
Definitely. Oh, definitely.
So
it's part in there, yeah.
And movies.
movies, anything that's going to be any kind of that you can have some kind of fan following to, it's going to be there.
Wow.
That's the people we're welcoming. Anybody who has any kind of love of any fandom.
Okay.
To show up there.
So once you show up there, what kind of things can people expect to see?
So we'll have a bunch of photo ops for sure. I know the 501st is going to be there, which is basically for those who don't know, the 501st is the Star Wars community. That they're a nonprofit. They're amazing. They're at all these big events. Them being a nonprofit, they do all this for free. They show up in the costume and all the Star Wars garb. And they do their photo ops with people, and they're walking around making the event exciting. I mean, they have a huge following. They're really friendly people. They're awesome. So they're going to be there. We have photo opportunities. Aside from that, we'll have the different panelists. We'll have artists, local artists, and it's a good amount of stuff. It's not just like you said. It's not just like somebody who does comic books. Right. It's somebody who does comic books. It's other people who are going to be doing different kinds of sculptures. And writers, and it's a variety of things.
Neat.
Because I want it to be a variety of things. I don't want somebody to feel excluded. I want the idea to be that everybody's going to go in there for that they get to celebrate what they love doing. And even if it's not like, maybe I don't have somebody, a panelist or an artist that's specifying to the thing I love, you're going to meet people, and you're gonna find somebody who does Dungeons and Dragons stuff more and this and that. So that's the idea. It's just I want it to be inviting.
Now, you mentioned panelists. What sort of panels are you going to have for that?
So we have 5 panelists lined up, and again, I really love that variety of it. It's going to be so Nikki's going to be doing the Disney talk. So she's called Disnikki. So she does she knows the ins and outs of the parks. She knows the ins and outs of like how to do things, like how to kind of help yourself and make it a smoother day. Like a lot of marketing stuff, a lot of like pin trading, just really specific Disney details. She's really cool with that. So people are always like,
that's super useful. I mean, how many times you would really wish you had somebody who had it really down on how to get around Disney World?
Yeah, I know.
And this is like a guided tour.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And then I have Freddie, who's going to be doing the sculptures. He's a local artist who does a bunch of like different little characters, and so he sells them. You'll see him at different events. Mm-hmm. So he does a bunch of different characters. Like he's going to be premiering some little snails that he's created, very sci-fi-esque, right? And he'll do a lot of sci-fi stuff or like steampunk characters. Sure. So like robots and snails, some rabbits, different things like that. So it's really colorful, very textural.
It's like an art exhibit then.
Yeah. Okay. It can be, but with that idea of leaning towards fandom stuff, right? Exactly.
Right.
Another panelist would be Sarah. She will be doing supernatural building, like world building kind of a thing. It sounds really exciting. That's the one that I'm really super curious about too, because just like the whole supernatural realm, it's awesome.
So is there a big video game sort of vibe or like a sim game playing kind of thing going on?
So we won't have too much video game. I don't think I have a vendor or anything that's specific to that.
Yeah.
But like we will have a lot of there will be a lot of like the board games, like
you mentioned D&D,
stuff like
right?
That. As far as video game, in this year it's not as big, but that's not because I don't want it to be. That's just kind of like we didn't get as many yet. But there's always that potential for next year. I would love that.
Sure.
I would love that. So there's that, and then Derek is going to be another writer. I think he's doing a screenwriting 101, which is very important because there are a lot of us creative people, and this is my constant mission, is to have people outside of just even FanFest in the TIC. The idea is that we're sitting there with projects that we probably should have already been building on. Mm-hmm. And as a creative person, you put your projects on the side and life takes over.
Yeah.
Screenwriting 101 is a good one because you get to kind of, if you have already started something but you put it on pause, show up to the 101 anyway, warm up again. If you've never, but you've always had that idea in your head and it needs to grow, then show up to that for that reason. Get the ball rolling. So he's going to be doing a screenwriting 101.
So can you say that part of the goal or the vibe of the entire event is to be inspirational, to get people creative?
Without a doubt. For sure, on the audience side, on the patron side, on the community side, I want them to show up and just have a great day of this. But on the other side, which is where I always am mentally, is the creating side. I'm always creating something. And there are a lot of us, and that's, like I said, that's my personal mission, is to have people realize with these kinds of events, with the room we have in the library, with all these resources, people who want to create maybe some, how many conversations I've had, I can't tell you, where somebody says, "Oh, I want to go to art school, but I can't afford it." I actually had this kid come in a little while ago, a week ago, and he was like saying how he's trying to, the family business is trying to get out of debt. He says, "I'm trying to get out of family debt so that I can get into my student debt." That's not the right mentality. No. There are so many resources. I mean, the TIC is free. Everything that I ever used in the art school, which art school is not cheap.
No.
Everything there is in the TIC for free for people to use. Not only do I mean hardware, but the software. Sure. We have Creative Suite. I have Toon Boom. I have Maya with Blender.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's paint a picture. Tell us about the TIC and what's available for folks in the room.
So anything that's digital arts is that room. Anybody that's in other words, the arts, you just put a digital spin. So if you're a painter, you can digital paint. If you're a sculptor, you can 3D sculpt. If you're an animator, 2D traditional, we can do that there digitally, and we can 3D animate as well. If you're a sound recorder, if you're a singer, we go in there and record you. If you need an audio mix engineer, I have Ableton, Audacity. I mean, I have the MIDI, the beat maker. You can mix in my room. This is for all the audio artists. You can mix all the way to the point of mastering. I don't have the acoustics for mastering, but I mean, to get to that point alone for free, studios are expensive. I have a 3D printer there, so somebody can essentially 3D sculpt their own character, or we could 3D scan what they've sculpted, and then we 3D print. We can do a maquette of something.
So essentially, the room is almost like a nursery for creative people.
Yes.
If you're a musician, if you're a singer, you can give them a start.
Yes.
And you have the equipment and the know-how to do that.
Exactly.
If they're artists, if they are, of any sort of creative, environment, you can give them tools to at least get started and to explore that.
Yes. Every single tool is in there. I show up there every day, and it is the whole. It's what I took for granted as an artist during art school. I mean, I had my studio there. I can show up at 2 a.m, and I'd work 2 a.m, and I'd go to bed, and I'd wait. I took it for granted. You're just there, you show up, whatever. Now that I graduated and I no longer had that access, you miss it. And then I find that room in the library, and then they say, "Hey, come work here." So I can't tell you, every day I wake up, I'm just like, I love being in work. I love it. It's just me playing.
It's a great feeling.
I love it. And so it's not like I just want to keep that for myself. I want other local artists, and I'm in the art scene, and we have all these local artists that we talk to, etc. And I love that feeling. I want all of them, and even the ones who aren't local practicing artists, people who have just been sitting there thinking they're not an artist. That's not true. You are. Come here and look at the tools.
Are there any fees or costs involved with it?
All free. As long as you have a library card there for the Mandel Library, it's free.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's jump back to talking about FanFest. No, it was really important to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
What a great resource that's available to really nurture creativity, and budding artists can actually go and practice their first real steps there, and that's a fantastic service. That's a fantastic thing to do. But at FanFest, we've talked a little bit about, some of the things that are going to be there. I know there are parents going, is this going to be a kid-friendly sort of environment?
Definitely it is. Oh, it is. Before I do that, let me mention the 5th panelist.
Oh, yes, please.
May O'Malley. May O'Malley's coming to us through Art Life, through Sibile's projects. I love Art Life. Just, again, talking about the arts in the city and stuff. Yeah. The stuff that comes out of there is amazing. Anyway, so May O'Malley's one of the 5 artists. And May's going to be doing. May actually did the all the decals that we have in the elevator in the library, that they did all the illustrations and stuff. That's May's work. So May's going to have a table there, and one of the panelists basically on the creation of their characters and the process of that. So that's going to be a really cool talk, in the sense of, again, if I'm an artist that's kind of getting that ball rolling, I get to hear this other artist, May, talking about that process and the struggles and how to kind of get over those slumps and stuff. So that's going to relate to a lot of people. So definitely that'd be a good one to come to it. And so anyway, jumping back to, like you said, is definitely going to be a family-friendly event. We want to keep it open to everybody. It's
for everyone.
Exactly.
You can have kids in there. They're going to be things for children to see and enjoy, and maybe even spark their own creativity.
Yes. definitely I want that to happen.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, okay, so our dates again are
May 24th. The event is open to the public from 12 to 4, Saturday, May 24th.
okay. So come on down, Mandel Public Library. You can get that. And where can we find more information about it? Stuff for folks.
So the link is going to be, it's just wpb.org/Mandel Fanfest. And that has all the information. We have pictures from last year's kind of trial run event, which was fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, was really good. And then all the information is there. We'll have all the artists up there and the vendors and the panelists and stuff.
Anything that we haven't covered yet?
No, I mean, I'm sure there is a lot.
Yeah.
But can I think of anything at the moment? Maybe not.
The most important thing is to have people come on down, see
Yes.
what's going on there, enjoy the library, enjoy what's happening at Mandel Public Library, and enjoy the creativity that is available there.
Yes. And it's a free event for the public.
Free event for the public. Okay, so we'll get that all covered. Erik Marquez, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you being here and everything you're doing for the library and for the people of West Palm Beach.
Thank you very much. I love being here.
And thank you for joining us today. If you're interested in learning more about the Mandel Fanfest 2025, just check out the library pages on the city website at WPB.org. The City Center Podcast is a production of the City of West Palm Beach Communications Department. I'm Jerry Marcello. We'll see you next time.